Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the garage. So this is my 2015 Tesla Model S. I want to talk about buying a used Model S versus a new Model 3. So this topic has come up because my neighbor next door really has been interested in Teslas. I own this Model S. I also have a Model Y. And so he's been looking at, does he buy a used Model S? He really likes the S, but also the Model 3 with the tax credit, and there's some money off of them right now, or the Model Y. He's kind of looking at all of them, and so it got me interested in doing a video about comparing the cost of a used Model S versus a new Model 3 and seeing what the cost breakdown, and then going through some of the comparisons, pros and cons of each type. Hey guys, we're here at the whiteboard. I want to go through kind of side-by-side comparison of the two cars. This is assuming that you have a budget of around $32,000 for a vehicle. The car that we're going to look at used is going to be a 2016 Model S. Really, you want to get the newer the better, because every year the Model S has progressed, the technology, the features, everything's gotten better on that. So 2016, we're going to look at a 75D. 75D is kind of the middle of the road trim, where it has the D is for the dual motor. So 75 kilowatt battery with a dual motor, 2016. I think that's probably a really good car to look at. You can find those for, that have probably 40 to 60,000 miles on it for around $32,000 right now, which is a great deal. Used Teslas, the prices are beat down really quite a bit, because the new Teslas have been dropping in price, and this new tax credit on the 3 and the Ys. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a $32,000 2016 Model S, the 75D. There's also in this year, there's also the 70, and which is just a rear-wheel drive, or the 90D, which is a 90 kilowatt battery, dual motor, so it's got a little bit bigger battery. But I think for a 90D, you're gonna have to go a little bit more than this right now. We're going to compare that to a 2023 brand new Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive. Let's look at the price of this one. Price I'm looking at right now at my local Tesla service sales center. There's one for sale. It's a couple $1,000s off. $38,038, $250 order fee, and then $1,390 is the destination fee. So the total price $39,670. That's before any government fees, taxes, registration, title fees. Tesla doesn't charge like a document fee or dealer fees. They really just have this $250 order fee. So I think that's pretty reasonable. But $39,670, you can get the $7,500 tax credit off of these new Model 3s or even the Model Ys. That brings the price down to $32,170. Now, a quick disclaimer on this: if you go this route and buy the Model 3, you're still going to have to pay $39,670 for this car. The $7,500 doesn't come back to you until you do your taxes next year. So right now we're in July of 2023. You're gonna have to wait until February, March or April of next year when you file your taxes, and then you'll get the $7,500 back in an additional refund, or $7,500 less you'll have to pay in taxes. So essentially, after the dust settles, after the tax credit comes in, these cars are really about the same price. $32,000 is kind of the price we're looking at. And you get a lot of car for that money in both cars. Let's talk about the range here. So in the 75D, the range was 259 miles. Well, after about 50, 60, 70,000 miles, the range does decrease in these cars, and probably going to go down between 8 to 5% degradation of range. So realistically, you're probably looking at this would charge up to about between 230 and 240 miles of range. The range on the new Model 3 rear-wheel drive, 272 miles. So this is going to be a little bit better in range overall than the 75D. Here's where the Model S wins in acceleration. 0 to 60, 4.4 seconds. Some of the newer 75Ds, like 2017, 18s, they'll go a little bit quicker than that. But this is what the stated range, the acceleration, which is very, very quick for a car. The Model 3 is 5.0 seconds, 0 to 60. So the S, that's one advantage. The S cars are a little bit quicker, they're a little faster, but they are a heavier vehicle. This Model 3 we're looking at is rear-wheel drive. This 75D, the D indicates dual motor. It's going to be an all-wheel drive system. So depending on where you live, you may or may not need that, but I think if you live in cold climates, snow, ice conditions, you can have a rear-wheel drive Model 3 just fine, or even a rear-wheel drive S. Just put winter tires on it in the wintertime and you'll be fine, I think. Here's an advantage that the Model 3 has, and that is the miles per gallon equivalent. So the EPA rates these cars with an MPGe, which is kind of like equating it to what the MPG of a gas car is. So the MPGe combined for the Model S 75D is 103, which equates to requiring about 33 kilowatt hours of energy to go 100 miles. Compare that to the Model 3. The Model 3 is a little bit smaller car. It's lighter. It's not using as big of battery, and it's a little more efficient. The design's a little more efficient. And so this has an MPGe rating of 132, which equates to only using 25 kilowatt hours of energy per 100 miles. So that's one benefit that the Model 3 has, is because it's lighter, it's a little smaller, the battery's not as big, it's going to be more efficient. So if you're driving a lot, the Model 3 is going to require less energy. You're going to have to spend less money to drive it for the mileage that you're driving versus the Model S. I want to talk about the pros of each car. So the Model S versus the Model 3 pros. So what are the benefits of each of the vehicles? Let's start here with the Model S. So again, we're looking at 2016 Model S 75D. This is a great car to own, guys. Either of these cars are going to be great. You'd be happy with either of these cars, but let's just kind of take a look at some of the pros of each car. So the looks, I think the Model S has a better look than the Model 3. That's my personal preference. I like the look of the Model S. I think it has great lines. It's sleek. It's sporty. I really like the look of it. Also, some of these early 2017 and older Model S is going to have free supercharging for life. So that's a big benefit if you can find a car that has free supercharging that transfers to you. That way you can use the Tesla Supercharge network for free at no cost to you for the life of the vehicle. Also, the air suspension or the ride of the Model S I think is going to be a little bit better because it does have an air ride suspension, and that can give you a better ride than the Model 3 when it comes to the ride, the overall ride of the vehicle. The Model S is also a larger vehicle. It's got more space, so space, your foot room, passenger room is going to be more. It's also going to have more trunk space. It's a hatchback where the hatch moves up in the back, versus the Model 3 is just a trunk in the back. So you have more cargo room, you've got more room for passengers. Most of the Model S vehicles are going to be 5-seaters. You will find the rare version that does have the 7-row seat, or the 7-seater in the back, which is a flip-up jump seat for kids. And then also, I do like the 17-inch screen. The screen in the Model S is nice. It has that nice screen in the middle, and then also a gauge screen right through the steering wheel, so it looks more like a traditional car. I really like that setup versus the one-screen method in the Model 3 and Y. Okay, let's look at some of the benefits and pros of the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, a brand new one. The new one, it being new, a brand new car, that has no miles on it. You know exactly where it's been, and you kind of start fresh with this car. You don't have to worry about any issues or problems. They're going to be covered under the warranty, and that's going to be a big thing. Having 8 years, 100,000-mile warranty on the battery and drivetrain is going to be huge. Also, with the newest vehicle, you're going to get the latest technology, the battery technology. Tesla's done a lot over 7 years from this to this, and I think they've worked out a lot of the kinks and issues or problems or potential problems. So reliability is going to be, I think, better with the Model 3. It doesn't have things like the door handles that pop out or the window regulator issues, or there's just things with the Model S that just have reliability things that I've had to have in the shop. I don't hear as much of that with the Model 3. And it's really more simplistic design. I also think that it's going to be cheaper to drive in that it's more efficient. It's not as big, it's not as heavy, it doesn't require as much electricity to move it down the road as it does the Model S. So overall, it's going to be cheaper to drive, probably going to be cheaper to insure as well. Also, it's going to have the latest hardware as far as charging hardware and all of that, all of the latest things that Tesla's designed. It can charge on the new 250 kilowatt or probably even the version 4 supercharged system. So it's going to have that latest charging ability. Used Model S. The big one being, guys, is no warranty. There's no coverage for any issues, problems. The big one being is that there's no battery or motor coverage. Now, a 2016 might have a few months left because in 2023 right now, that car's about 7.5 years old. So in 2024, that's going to be 8 years old, depending on when it was built, when it was delivered to the original owner. So there's most likely not going to be any warranty for long term for maybe more than 6 months or a year. After a year, you're most likely going to have no warranty at all. Reliability is also an issue. I have had my Model S, my 2015 Model S, for almost 3 years actually. And I've probably spent $2,000 at the Tesla Service Center fixing things, door handle issues, window regulators, steering column joint went out, tie rod ends, just more things have gone out. There was a coolant line issue that happened. So I think it's going to be less reliable just because it's an older car. It's going to have more issues that are going to pop up. along that line, it's also going to be more expensive to drive long term. So once you get out of that warranty, if you have a battery failure in 2 or 3 years, you're going to look at a big bill when it comes to replacing that battery. And then just more and more things are going to go out over time, over the next 2, 3, 4 years with this car. It also has the older charging hardware. It can't charge it at the 250 kilowatt charging that the Model 3 and Ys can right now, or the brand new Model S and X's can. But the older Model S's, they have older hardware to be charging, and so at superchargers, you're going to be charging, for example, my 2015 charges at like 78 kilowatts. Even if I'm at a 250 kilowatt charger, it's only going to charge at 78 kilowatts, so it's not going to charge as fast. So if you're taking on road trips, if you're supercharging frequently, you need to charge it faster. That could be a con of this. Also, there's the MCU-1. This is the media control unit. That's the big touch screen in the middle of the dash. MCU-2 didn't come out until, I don't know, 2020, 2021. And so the older cars have a really slow interface when it comes to the functionality of the screen, how it processes. It just has an older processor. You need to upgrade this to MCU-2, which is about a $1,500 to $2,000 option through the Tesla Service Center. So if the car hasn't already had that, you're probably going to want to just make that interface usable. So those are some cons. Guys, the big one being no warranty on that car and being exposed to some larger out-of-pocket costs to fix things that come up, especially battery and motor failure. Now, cons with the Model Y. Now, these are all subjective, and some of these I kind of had to come up with some because there's not a lot of downsides to the new Model 3, but it is a smaller vehicle than the S, so trunk space is going to be a little tighter. Your footwell room, where you're putting your feet, space for fitting 5 people, is going to be a little tighter vehicle, so that could be a downside. Also, no air suspension. It's running on coilover shocks, so the ride might be a little more harsh than it would be in the Model S. I don't love the standard hubcaps that come with the Model 3. There is an upgraded 19-inch wheel that does look pretty good, but the standard wheels, I think they look kind of goofy with those Aero hubcaps on there. There are some upgraded hubcaps you can get, but if I was to get a Model 3, I would probably swap out to an aftermarket wheel and tire. There's some good-looking combinations out there with aftermarket options for wheels, so that would be like an additional expense that I'd probably incur if I bought the Model 3. It's not as fast also. So it's not as quick, it doesn't accelerate as fast, but 5.8 seconds 0 to 60 is still quicker than most cars on the road. So even though it's the slowest Tesla made, as of right now, it's the slowest Tesla made, it's still very quick. It's still quicker than most cars on the road, but when it comes to Tesla quick, it's not as quick as, say, the Model S. Also, this rear-wheel drive option is only rear-wheel drive. It's not all-wheel drive. You have to upgrade to the long range or the performance version to get all-wheel drive, and that comes in additional expense. So these are kind of the pros and cons of both of the cars. And as you can see, both cars have a very good case when it comes to looking at whether to purchase either one of them. Okay, guys, I'm here in my Model S. I'm just kind of thinking about these pros and cons of this car, both of these cars, and I'm thinking about which one I would buy. Now, if I was in the market, if I didn't own any Tesla right now and I was just getting into a Tesla, I think the better choice is to buy the new Model 3 if you qualify for the tax credit and you're getting it around $32,000. The reason I say that is the last thing you want to have happen is you buy a car like a Model S. It's got 6 months left on the warranty. You buy that car, it's your first Tesla or electric car, and then in a year or two the battery goes out, or you've got to get the battery repaired or the motor repair, and you're looking at a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 repair on that. That is going to make for a very bad experience. You're going to have a very sour taste. You'll probably just get out of it altogether. You won't want to ever get another electric car. And so I think the better option is just getting the new Model 3 and just having that full warranty. I think the warranty is the biggest selling factor with the new Model 3. You don't have to worry about repairs. You don't have to worry about the battery or the motors. You got 8 years to really just get used to it and see how great the car is. And instead of going with one that's potentially going to be out of warranty, that you're going to be subject to a lot of out-of-pocket costs. So guys, hopefully this gives you some good information, at least some things to consider. This isn't a comprehensive list. A lot of these pros and cons are kind of subjective, so feel free to leave your comment down below. What would you do between buying a 2016 75D Model S versus the brand new Model 3 rear-wheel drive car? I'm curious what your thoughts are. If you agree or disagree, leave them down below. Be sure to subscribe. Guys, I also have down in the description down below, if you're looking at ordering a new Tesla, use my referral link. You get referral credits. I do too. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.